ठीक है. So now we have goblet cells and mucus glands. So this is a very important question that usually comes. And like we just studied, okay, first you are going to identify cilia, then you'll see goblet cells, and beneath goblet cells you'll find mucus glands, which are smaller in size. So you need to understand okay, what exactly goblet cells and mucus glands are, and what is the function of goblet cells, and what is the function of mucus glands. Okay. So as the air flows through the nose and the trachea, it is warmed to body temperature and moistened by evaporation from the lining, so protecting the delicate surfaces inside the lungs from desiccation. So desiccation means becoming dry. Okay, so it protects our surfaces in the lungs from drying out. Okay, so this moisture and this evaporation from this lining, it protects the internal surfaces of lungs from drying out. Then in the trachea and bronchi, the mucus is produced by the goblet cells. So number one, that in trachea and in bronchi, the mucus is produced by goblet cells of ciliated epithelium. Ciliated epithelium means that any epithelium which bears cilia upon it. Then the upper part of each goblet cell is swollen within mucin droplets which have been secreted by the cell. Okay. So far, are we good?
Yes.
Okay. So the upper part of each goblet cell is swollen. It appears in a swollen manner and it has mucin droplets which have been secreted by the ciliated epithelium. Then you need to understand okay, what is mucus. Mucus is a slimy solution of mucin which is composed of glycoproteins with many carbohydrate chains that make them sticky, and since they are sticky, this is why they're able to trap inhaled particles which are harmful for the gaseous exchange system. It could be dust, it could be any bacteria, it could be any viral particle. So anything which is harmful, it's trapped by the help of mucus. The rest of the goblet cell, which contains the nucleus, is quite cylinder like the stem of a goblet. So the main function of goblet cells and mucus gland is to produce mucus, and mucus is a slimy solution which traps all the harmful substances. Then mucus is also made by mucus gland beneath the epithelium. The continual beating of their cilia carries the carpet of mucus upward towards the larynx. When mucus reaches the top of the trachea, it is usually swallowed, so the pathogens are destroyed by the acid in the stomach. So you need to remember that goblet cells are above mucus gland, and both of them are responsible to produce mucus. Once the mucus reaches the top or it reaches towards the larynx, the mucus is usually swallowed. It moves to the stomach where it is where the entire pathogen is destroyed by the HCl. So now, these are the essential things that we have studied. You need to understand okay, what is the meaning of ciliated epithelial cells. So, okay, so there's a major difference between simple squamous epithelium and between ciliated epithelial cells. So, ciliated epithelial cells are the cells that line the trachea to the bronchi, and they have cilia. So, squamous epithelium does not bear cilia, while ciliated epithelial cells, they are present in trachea to the bronchi, and these have the tiny projections of cilia which sweep mucus, dust, bacteria, and every other microorganism up and away from the lungs to the mouth where they're swallowed and digested by stomach acid. Then goblet cells, they're embedded in the ciliated epithelium and they produce mucus. The mucus they produce traps dust, bacteria, and microorganisms. Then mucus gland is located beneath the goblet cells, and they work along with goblet cells in the trachea and bronchi. So you need to also remember their location, that they are present in trachea and bronchi. Never mention that they are present in bronchioles. You'll not get a mark over there. Okay, so just remember their two sides, trachea and bronchi. Then you have cartilage. You need to remember okay, where complete regular cartilage is present and where irregular one is present. It's the site of cartilage is the same as well. It's trachea and bronchi. Rings of cartilage line to trachea or windpipe. It's a strong but flexible tissue, and it is essential to keep the trachea and airways open. Because of its flexibility, the cartilage is able to move and flex as we breathe. Then we have smooth muscle. So the type of muscle which is present in gaseous exchange system is a smooth muscle. It's a muscle which is not under our conscious control and is found in the walls of the bronchi and bronchioles. So remember the locations essentially, because you get confused when you see the MCQ paper. You get everything looks so similar and everything looks so alike. So you need to remember their locations here, where exactly all these structures are present. So it helps to regulate the flow of air into and out of the lungs by dilating and widening when more air is needed. Then elastic fibers are essentially present on your squamous epithelium of alveolar walls. Elastic fibers are a critical component of alveoli because they allow the tiny alveoli to stretch as they fill with air and recoil to help force air out. It is the elastic abilities of alveoli which enable them to have a large surface area. In serious cases of COPD, such as advanced emphysema, the alveoli loses these elastic properties. So before, I think 2 years ago, we used to have the clinical cases in gaseous exchange systems such as chronic bronchitis and emphysema, but now we don't have them. Then we have squamous epithelium, which consists of flat, thin cells in the walls of alveoli. Their thinness means that oxygen and carbon dioxide have a very short diffusion pathway during gas exchange system. We just have one last thing. I forgot to do this. Let's do this exchange process and then we'll be done. So the exchange of oxygen carbon dioxide occurs between the alveoli and the capillaries in the lungs. Like we have just mentioned, the carbon dioxide is present in our blood. Oxygen is something which we inhale. So oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged in a process of simple diffusion. The air in the alveoli contains a higher concentration of oxygen. The oxygen diffuses from the alveoli into the blood capillaries before being carried away to the rest of the body for aerobic respiration. The blood in the capillaries has a relatively low concentration of oxygen and a high concentration of carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide diffuses from blood and into alveoli and is then exhaled. So you need to remember this pathway. Okay, from pulmonary circulation, we get deoxygenated blood. It gets oxygenated in the lungs, and carbon dioxide is diffused from blood into alveoli, and then we exhale it. And in opposite case happens with oxygen, where oxygen diffuses in the blood from the alveoli, and we then pump it for systemic circulation. Okay, so this is the gas exchange process, and now we are done. So if you have any questions, you can ask.